thank you to the South Asia Business Association for the conference, for calling us in. Thank you. And special thanks and special mention to Archishman Taniru for sending the invite personally and delivering it and making sure that I came along. Thank you. See, I'm not new to New York. I've been here, I went to school here, not at Columbia, but I went to CUNY down the street. And I've lived here for a couple of years, so very, very familiar, and it's always a good feeling to come back to this wonderful, wonderful city. And thank you, especially to all of those who have made it from various parts of the US to be here. Thank you. I just wanted to talk to you guys about a special growth story of the youngest state in India, which I refer to as the most successful startup state of independent India. Next year, 2027, India will be completing 80 years of independence. And in the last 80 years, I can say this with utmost confidence and with a bit of a swag as well, that I represent that state in India, which has done tremendous things in a short span of time. And I truly take a lot of pride in this state that we fought hard to get, and we also fought hard to administer over the last decade and more. Having spent a decade at the intersection of industry, innovation, and governance, I can tell you with confidence that when leadership has a clarity of purpose, and when leadership can focus on getting things right, even in a country like India, which is probably the most diverse nation on the planet, things can be done, and clarity of purpose can build credibility far beyond geography. Peter Drucker very famously said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. That's exactly what we tried to do over the 1 decade since Telangana became an independent state. Telangana, in many ways, we have not waited for growth, we have not waited for opportunities, but built institutions, infrastructure, and confidence that could attract both opportunity and innovation. Telangana, like I mentioned, was not a state that was given on a platter to us. We in fact had to fight really hard, struggle really hard, led by our very able leader, Shri KCR Garu. It was born out of struggle, sacrifice, and ultimately the world's largest democracy. The government of India had to heed to the popular demand of the people of Telangana. Our story, the state's story, is a story that represents dignity, aspiration, and progress. What is that story? I would like to elaborate a bit. This conversation for me is special because is bigger, not just from one state's perspective, but not just from a region's perspective, but to give you hope that if one state can achieve so much within a decade, the rest of India can also accomplish a lot more to create a national momentum. Because India has always been treated as one country with a lot of promise, with a lot of hope, with a lot of potential. And it's been 80 years since independence. Now there is a new goalpost. We talk about Vikasit Bharat in 2047. But I think the promise, if it has to be delivered, if it has to be fulfilled, there are a lot of things that India needs to get right, and Telangana can certainly be the lighthouse for the rest of the country. I would also like to quickly point out, India's greatness, India's rise, will not come from sameness. India's rise, India's potential, India's ability to deliver up to its potential will come from regions playing to their natural strengths. Imagine in India, we talk about double-engine government. We keep hearing the slogan, double-engine governments. But imagine in India with 28 engines, all roaring to go. Imagine a Formula One race for a minute. Are there any F1 fans here? I'm sure. I'm not talking about the movie. I know Brad Pitt, of course, but imagine a Formula One race where you have 20 race cars competing against one another and bustling with energy, and really going at each other. India could be a similar story unfolding, provided our 28 states play to their strengths, play to their potential, and eventually accomplish the collective dream of being in the first world by 2047. That is why Telangana's journey matters, not just as a state story, but as part of a much larger Indian story. Now, I'd like to quickly, I only have 6 slides, so don't worry, it won't be a very boring, long speech. I know politicians are in love with mics and their voices, so I'll try and keep it as simple and as quick as possible. You know, India is no more just the back office of the world. I think most of you would agree with me on that, because it's not just the back office, it's not just a large market that you know, the world, especially the enterprises across the world look at. But India is in fact a very serious, long-term operating platform for all the enterprises across the world. This is probably a very, very dynamic shift which really provides an opportunity for a lot of enterprises to lean in and probably pick up opportunities. We're no longer a country that just is about potential. We're becoming a country of platforms, of ecosystems, and brimming with confidence. In fact, India offers unbridled talent. We offer market scale, and we also offer policy, which is extremely important, aligned with the digital infrastructure needs of current day enterprise. You know, we produce, when I say talent, India has the world's largest think force on the planet. The world is getting older, but India is getting younger. Now, we produce almost 1.5 million engineers every single year. That's probably larger than any other country in the world. And most importantly, out of these engineers, if you look at the median age, India's median age is only 27. 50% of Indian population is less than the age of 27. But what is even more exciting, 65% of Indian population today is less than the age of 35. So imagine a workforce, and now people are talking about longevity and where humans are going to apparently live until 120 and 150. I'm not one of those believers, but still, assume for a minute that if somebody's going to live up to 120 or 150, look at what India has to offer in terms of potential human resources. Now that is probably the youngest and most diverse talent pools that you'll see. More importantly, as I mentioned, the digital infrastructure that is being set in place, set in motion, also creates, you know, enough opportunities by reducing friction across the various sectors in economy. Access has become faster, transactions have become smoother, and scale has become easier to manage. What mattered even more was how strong states and capable cities have converted that shift into real economic confidence. Now, India is not just a cost story anymore. You know, it's not just a low-cost, high-value human capital that is offering. It's a capability story. In fact, it's a story of young Indians who really want to change over the course of the next decade or so the face of the rest of the world, provide solutions not just for India, but for the rest of the world as well. If you look across India, I think states, when I mentioned 28 different states all being powered and playing to their natural strengths, etc., what do I mean? What I mean is, if you look at Tamil Nadu has built in-depth trade, manufacturing, and logistics capabilities over the last several decades. If you look at Karnataka, again, one of my favorite states in the country, especially Bengaluru as a city, has become the Silicon Valley of India without a question. It has built innovation density at scale. And if you look at Maharashtra, led by Mumbai and Pune, of course, have built financial gravitas and metropolitan scale, which is comparable even to a city like New York. Anybody from Bombay here? Do you still call it Bombay or Mumbai? Mumbai, of course, Amchi Mumbai. And Telangana, of course, as a young state, has shown that you can move with speed, innovate in policy, and build with intent and create a growth story that travels beyond boundaries. But the larger lesson is very simple. India may attract attention through Prime Minister Modi and others at international and national forums, but investment decisions are made locally, at the state level, at the city level, on the ground. That is extremely important to understand. When people talk about enterprises and entering India, please remember, there are 28 different Indias out there. You have to pick which part of India you want to enter, because your entire experience hinges on choosing the right kind of state and on having a bilateral conversation with the states that are important. Because a lot of enterprises, you know, they need to decide what works very well for them, because what works for Google might not work the same for Apple. So it became very important for us from Telangana's perspective that we need scale, we need innovation, we need the potential to reduce friction for anybody who's wanting to enter India. That's exactly what we've done. Just to give you an example of why I call my state the most successful startup state of independent India. When we assumed office in 2014, on the 2nd of June, the total technology exports from the state of Telangana and primarily from Hyderabad was only 57,000 crores of rupees. Approximately back then, I think if you look at the rupee conversion, was about $8 billion. But by the time we left office in 2023, it rose from 57,000 crores to almost 2.72 lakh crores. And this is despite COVID. This is despite 2 years of crisis that has affected everybody across the world. The technology sector employment alone, when we assumed office in 2014, it was about 323,000 to be precise, 3.23 lakhs. And when we left office, it was almost 1 million people working in technology sector alone in Hyderabad. You could see how quickly we were able to ramp up in terms of numbers, how quickly we were able to support all these enterprises across the world and attract investments in billions and billions of dollars. Just to give you an example again, guess where Amazon's world's largest campus is? Hyderabad. Not in Seattle. So, again, an incredible story where we could deliver all permissions to Amazon within 11 days of them applying to build the world's largest campus. Guess where Google's, Apple's, Meta's, and even Uber, Salesforce, Micron, Novartis, their second largest base outside of the US is? Hyderabad. It's my fiduciary responsibility to the list is large, the list is long. Uber, Salesforce, Micron, Novartis, I can go on. It's a long list. Hyderabad did not just market itself well. It built the capacity to absorb ambition of the enterprises to grow, to scale, to expand. If there is one lesson that Telangana can teach you, it is this. Investors notice talent, but they commit to ecosystems. Talent in India can be mobile. You could be a Bangalorean, but you could shift to Hyderabad for a job. You could be from Bihar, but you could very easily come and adopt to Hyderabad or Bangalore. So it's even more important from a city perspective, from a state perspective, to build an ecosystem that is going to nurture the ambition of all these enterprises. Now, I would be remiss if I don't mention Dr. B.R. Ambedkar while I'm at Columbia University. As many of you, probably most of you know this, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was an alum of this prestigious university back in early 1900s, early first part of 1900s. As Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, he's also one of our founding fathers of independent India. I would like to just quote him on one quick point he made about innovation and ideas. Humans are mortal, to quote Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Humans are mortal, so are ideas. An idea needs propagation as much as a plant needs water. Without it, both will wither and die. So the important point that I think we all need to absorb and assimilate is how even the best of ideas need ecosystems, need the support to nurture them, to actually make them into something which eventually translates into a larger than life idea. I would like to give you a few examples. Freshworks, an Indian company, began by solving a local problem, but a stubborn and a very real one which is rooted in India. In doing so, it made the rest of the world take notice of India's software as a services industry very seriously. Razorpay started by fixing pain points for Indian businesses, but when you solve the complexity that India is, and you solve the complexity and diversity that India presents, then that product can travel and basically get its own legs. That's exactly what happened. An Indian-born startup, again, going global and going in scale. Postman, another Indian product, basically making sure that thinking is impossible to ignore. For a very long time, Indian entrepreneurship has not been taken seriously because even I myself have traveled the world, have tried to understand the psyche, because we have all these poster boys. We have the Satya Nadellas, we have the Sundar Pichais, we have the Adobe Shantanu, there's Arvind Krishna, there's so many other Indian CEOs now who are the poster boys of very supremely talented, But again, where are the real products? Where are the real innovators? Where are the young Indians who really scaled and have brought about a smile onto our faces in terms of creating products such as, say, Google or even other ChatGPT and others? I do have a few references that have come out of Telangana, especially from T-Hub. Examples like Skyroot, which is a space tech company, which is just, I think in a couple of months it's going to be a unicorn. There is Darwinbox, which already has become a unicorn. Elo.ai, Zenity, High Radius, all unicorns coming from Hyderabad, have reinforced the shift, have made global enterprises sit up and take notice. Now, Indian entrepreneurs are not just building companies anymore. They're building confidence in India's ability to produce globally relevant and competitive products. But what we also have to remember from a state perspective, from an Indian state perspective is, while a lot of things have become easier, access to capital has become easier, mentorship, especially after virtual connectivity has become so easy, for the post-COVID world, has also become very easy to create a mentor network. Prototyping support has also become relatively easy. And most importantly, we have urban agglomerations like Hyderabad, like Bengaluru, like Chennai, like Pune, like Bombay, like Mumbai, like Delhi, which also have been attractive investment magnets, not just from an enterprise perspective, but also from a talent perspective. What's important for us to remember, though, is I was just talking to Pavni before, getting up here. She mentioned something about incubators and ecosystems. That's exactly what we've done in Telangana. We have created the world's largest technology incubator in the form of T-Hub. We drew inspiration from Station F in Paris, Y Combinator back here in the US, and we created the world's largest technology incubator, which can accommodate 2,000 startups in one go. And we also created a women entrepreneurship hub called as V-Hub for women entrepreneurs who would like to lead and would like to build products. We also built India's largest prototyping facility called as T-Works, which is basically for hardware innovators. And we also ensured that those young students who are graduating out of India's engineering colleges and various other professional colleges can latch on and understand what the industry really wants, and have built a product called as TASK, which is Telangana Academy for Skills and Knowledge to bridge about the difference in terms of what the market needs and in terms of what is being taught in our academic institutions. Great founders, most of them, may begin with a local problem, but when they go and try to solve it, like I mentioned, the complexity of India's systems and India's market will allow them to basically make sure that geography doesn't remain a ceiling anymore. I would like to quickly point out T-Hub, T-Works, V-Hub, and TASK, which I just talked about, have really changed and have really contributed to the innovation ecosystem in Hyderabad. In fact, institutions that are being built for local youngsters have started now becoming anchor points for building at scale and actually marketing at scale across the world as well. So therefore, I would like to sincerely put forward a fact that ecosystems really matter. It's not just about talent. It's not just about making sure that we have good rankings on the ease of doing business index, etc., etc. We need mentor support. We need ecosystems that nurture, humble beginnings, and that's where I think Indian states and Indian governments have to start focusing in as well. We also need to understand, especially one quick takeaway, if I have to, from the T-Hub story. Ecosystems do not just reward success. They, of course, like I mentioned, enable beginnings. But when a city, when a state, when a nation starts understanding this, because just again, put things in perspective. Can any one of you guess in this room where the second largest number of unicorns are from outside of the US? Second largest, which country is the second largest?
Israel.
Fantastic. Who said Israel? That gentleman is absolutely right. I mean, a lot of people would say China. assuming that it's a large nation with more than 1.5 billion people, etc. But a small country like Israel today has the second largest number of unicorns on the planet outside of the US. But of course, the US is US. It's got a huge swath of land and large population. But Israel, as we all know, is a very small nation. But what Israel has shown to the world is that irrespective of your size, you can certainly, size matters, but irrespective of size, I think things can happen when the governments, when the ecosystems, when all the forces can work together to create a force multiplier. What are the opportunities that Telangana today presents? I'll just quickly wrap up in the next 5 minutes. Telangana today is not just a technology story. It's not just the story of ecosystems which we have built, the tasks, the T-hubs, etc. We are also the leader in life sciences. Telangana, for those of you who do not know, produces 1/3 of human vaccines globally, not in India. So next time one of your children, one of your cousin's child is getting a vaccine shot, there is a 1 in 3 chance it could have been made in my city, Hyderabad, in my state, Telangana. We produce 10 billion doses of human vaccines every single year. That is the largest in terms of percentage, 33% for any city, for any state across the world. Now, we also are leaders in India for bulk drugs and pharmaceutical manufacturing. We produce nearly 40% of India's bulk drugs and pharmaceuticals. We also are leaders in fintech. We also have a good manufacturing ecosystem. I can't claim that we are the leaders, but we do have a decent ecosystem. We're also transitioning into clean energy. And of course, Hyderabad continues to be the leader in India in terms of urban infrastructure. For those of you who have not visited Hyderabad, I would strongly urge you to, especially after visiting the rest of Indian city. Go to Bombay, go to Delhi, go to Bangalore, and then come to Hyderabad. Really appreciate what you see. Things are changing in India. Those of you who haven't visited back home in India, in a long time. UPI has changed payments. Aadhaar has changed identity and access. ONDC is beginning to reshape digital commerce and how we really do commerce on a day-to-day basis. The deeper shift is that these digital systems are now becoming the base layer on which other sectors can scale. Now, why am I mentioning so many different ecosystems? I tell you only one simple thing. I think the next wave of growth, I think the next big opportunity for all of you young men and young women here who are wanting to do something at scale lies not just in one sector. It does not lie either in life sciences or in technology or in agri-tech or in fintech or in clean tech, etc. I think the real opportunity lies at the point of intersection of all these different sectors, and I don't think we have the room anymore for isolated bets in one sector. We need to be able to have this convergence happening across different sectors. Now, Hyderabad is one such example. I'll just point out to a classic company that you will all know, Novartis. You all may be familiar. It's a Switzerland company based out of Basel, headquartered in Basel, and has their second largest base outside of Switzerland in Hyderabad, India. Their largest innovation campus, Novartis' largest innovation campus, is in Hyderabad. Now, what do they do in this campus in Raigurdu? What they do there is digital drug discovery. It's not so much about pure play laboratories and pure play research that goes on in a science lab. Today, Novartis has shown the rest of pharma industry, rest of biotech industry, that digital drug discovery using simulations, bioinformatics, etc., is very much a possibility, and is something that truly can be done by Indian workforce. Now, after Novartis, we've had great success. We've had Amgen, we've had Sanofi, a number of other international companies that have chosen Hyderabad. In fact, my dream really for my state is to bring in the top 10 pharma companies of the world to do all their digital drug discovery using innovation from the ecosystem that we've built in Hyderabad. I think we're already there 50%, but I think it will be important for us to also bring in more and more such interesting intersection points. Companies, homegrown companies like Dr. Reddy's. I think we have the scion of Dr. Reddy's somewhere here, Vishal. Is Vishal Reddy here? Hi, Vishal. So Dr. Reddy's is a homegrown company from Hyderabad. It's done exceptionally well and has built its scale. And the chairman's son is here. For those of you who would want to interact, and probably haven't signed some checks. We have Bharat Biotech. We also have Biological Avance, and we also have Sanofi, a number of other biotech companies which have the much needed scientific depth and industrial scale, all within the same geography that is India, that is Telangana today. So my humble point on this, on this one particular issue, our future will not be shaped by one sector alone. I think the future of India, the future of business, the future of enterprise can be shaped where technology begins to multiply the strength of many sectors and all at once. That is something we all need to appreciate. Just as a case in point, Telangana has been an agrarian state which was deprived of water to our arable land. We have very hard-working farmers. We've had Godavari and Krishna, two lifeline rivers, which traverse through the length and breadth of our state, but unfortunately did not have the technology or the leadership to bring about that water to the arid, dry regions of Telangana. And that's what has changed with the formation of the state. Our leader, Shri KCR, has built, please don't trust me when I say this, I'm a politician. So you might want to use ChatGPT or Google and double check me on this, fact check me on this. We have built the world's largest multi-purpose irrigation project in a short span of 4 years. Did I mention the world's largest, not India's largest, within a short span of 4 years, and have created potential to irrigate 4.5 million acres of land in Telangana. This has never been done by any state. What I was trying to basically mention was the ability to adapt technology and use it to make sure that even the farmers who are at the bottom of the food chain, so to speak, are also given an opportunity to scale. Now, just to wrap up, all I would urge the young students here and the young businessmen and women here is please remember the hard choice is really between growth and caution. Please remember that it is speed versus stability, ambition versus depth. What do I mean? What I mean is, short-term headlines versus long-term capabilities. It's easy to make a splash. It's easy to actually create, be an impact player. For those of you who watch cricket, and how many of you watch cricket here? And the US has also joined the league, man. I think we should start taking it more seriously. What do I mean? Impact versus stability. If you watch the T20 format, you have all these impact players. But I'm an old guy, I'm 50, so in my mind, I keep thinking, but this isn't cricket. The real cricket is the test match cricket, where somebody has to endure a 5-day game. How many test match cricket fans here? Anybody at all? I'm guessing all of you are in mid-40s or 50s. So what I would like to point out is, it's easy to be an impact player. You can come in, with a swag and probably bash a few 4s and 6s, boundaries and 6s, and be hailed as the next big superstar. But it's incredibly important to stay the course, to have the talent, to be able to let go if it's a delivery that you can't play. I'm a huge Rahul Dravid fan. Somebody who was called a wall. I had his poster up on my wall back in my college days in Pune. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because he's somebody who really embodies endurance, who really embodies capability over a longer period of time. I think it's extremely important for young entrepreneurs to remember. It's always, it's always the long-term capacity over short-term headlines and splashes. Now, let me also quickly add, at scale, leadership also is often the art of sequencing. When life, especially if you're at Columbia University or in the US, if you're in the Valley or New York City, you have so many opportunities, you have so many ideas. Even my son, who's also in Pittsburgh at Carnegie Mellon, he keeps talking about multiple startup ideas. But let me remind all of you young guys right here, it's equally important to prioritize, what to build first, what to institutionalize early, because you may have tens of ideas, you may be bustling with energy. What to do, what to absorb politically, what to design so momentum survives beyond the announcement, beyond the short-term splash that you all can make. What is the product that is going to probably endure and survive and build momentum for a longer horizon? So the builder's mindset, especially if you're a youngster, is simple, if you ask me, especially from Indian perspective. Please don't just announce, design. Don't just announce big ideas. Design. Focus on it. Do not just react. Anticipate. Do not just attract capital, because it's easy to attract capital these days. It's easy to raise capital. But build confidence in your investors. Do not just solve for today. That's easy, because any ordinary guy can figure out the pain point of today. But it's equally important to remember that you have to create capacity for tomorrow. I would just simply, close out by saying one simple thing. In the age of scale today, the most important thing a government or a founder or a CEO can build is trust among your investors, among your customers, irrespective of whether you're a politician or an entrepreneur or whoever you are. Remember one simple thing. The next wave, the next big wave, will be about leverage and accelerating progress. The foundation for all of you at Columbia has been well laid. You've been given wonderful education at one of the biggest Ivy schools in the world. So the next wave really is about leveraging this opportunity, accelerating the progress, and finding out how
My friend is right.
రజని తీయవ రజని తీయ తీయ లైవ్ లైవ్
మనం చెప్పినాము వీళ్ళందరూ స్టూడెంట్స్ వచ్చిన పైన పైన హాల్ పోతే కష్టం కదా అక్కడ వచ్చిన వచ్చి ఫోటో తీసుకుంటే పంపించుకుంటున్నారు చేసుకుంటాం నేను వచ్చి ఒక 1 year
నేను వచ్చి 1 year
Thank you so much, sir.
Nice presentation.
आप जाइए
కొండ కొద్దిగా తీస్తా అటు పోతే
Ready? In some big pictures, please. Yeah. So just we are moving on then. We'll move there. Let's we don't want to disturb that.
అవసరం లేదు ఫ్రీగా రండి
Then we will move that.
శ్రేణి జరుగు లైవ్
We'll all go that side.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. But we will all meet at there. We will go that side. Yeah, we will go there.
అన్నది వెళ్ళిపో ఇక్కడ ఉండకు అవసరం లేదు ఇక్కడ మనం మనుషులం అవసరం లేదు
Yeah.
ఓకే అసలు వస్తాడు అన్నాడు ఉన్నారు
Yeah, you can join. I can get. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, no problem.
ఉండాలి మళ్ళీ అటు వెళ్ళిపోయింది వాళ్ళు వచ్చేస్తారు
Yeah, your phone is here. I did not.
Anna.
Take it.
He's coming that side. Yeah. Yeah, let's.
We'll just set up over there and we can also.
Anna.
I know, I just came outside to say hi to you.
We're gonna meet up. Yeah, we can.
Shona will just, I think they have a booth or something.
Come.
ఎవరు ఫోన్లో
లైవ్ తీసాను.
అందరు